Welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with Tanzi, who is now Chief Nursing Officer for community medical centers and in the outpatient world that you haven't been in before. So, and just person I adore. So I'm super proud of you. So welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Tanzi. So our topic for this time, it was interesting. It came about because I'm sure well, people realize, and Tanzi's been exposed to it, that's how we met, is process improvement, right? And so in process improvement, one of the principles of lean process improvement is about creating pull, right? And so create the fact that people are going to grab it and pull it to the next thing in the process, right? So this happens in a waiting room, okay? So if you go to the doctor's office, you're sitting in the waiting room, and the MA comes out and pulls you and brings you in to the office, right? Or the exam room. It's like I can't get my word right. We're talking about that, but we're not talking about that because we're talking about creating pull in organizations, especially when you're wanting to make improvement, improve performance, any kind of change that you're doing. A lot of times we kind of step into it thinking it's going to be big bang. So here's our quote that's going to kick us off. And it's a freaking old one, and you'll figure it out as soon as we say it. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea.
Yes.
And so what we're talking about here with pull is when you're up against something, and Tanzi, you and I have talked about this because it's happened where you're at and it's happened at something else. It's almost this concept of build it and they will come, but it's like build it, highlight it, then people will get curious about what you're doing, right? And then want to do it and get on board too, especially when you're successful. So it's like, if you've got this performance thing that you've got to change, don't go into it changing everything. Change the area that you've got sphere of influence, span of control. Shine a light on what's going on. And then people will get curious and go, what's happening over there?
Yes, absolutely, Michelle. I mean, I was just listening and reflecting on what you said there. The part about going in and making changes versus shining a light and I don't want to say drumming up curiosity, but having people get curious about what you're doing.
Yeah.
I am a person that's done both of those. So I've gone in and made changes, and wow, that can be a really, really tough approach and sometimes not successful. And so what I've learned to do is shine a light on it and have people get curious about what I'm doing. And the way that's really been successful for me is finding someone on the team that you share a common interest with, and then discuss the highlighted item, because guess what? They're interested also, and then create work. You work together to improve that, and then by working together to improve whatever we have shined a light on, now people are curious about what's going on. They're inquiring and wanting to jump on the team as well.
And they want to make a change. So when you're talking, I'm thinking back to the point in your career, and one of the early times, it was after we had first met, is that you had the opportunity to start up a new a new unit. And you were intentional about how you hired people. You've talked about that before on the podcast, that the team members actually hired team members.
Yes.
The structure that you put in place, the expectation that you put for, every leader on the team. And the work was highlighted. The results that your team had were highlighted, right? Because this is a nursing unit, and I think you were med tele.
Yes.
And you were able to do performance that people hadn't seen in other units,
Yes.
to where it even got the attention of the CNO of the organization at the time, right? So do the work, shine a light on it, and people will get curious. And I've watched you do that consistently. I've done it in organizations where I'm at, to where it's like, don't spend all your effort going head on with people,
Right.
trying to do change. Figure out, where do you start? And to your point, where do you have people that are early adopters on something, right?
Absolutely.
And partner with them and work with them on what that looks like. And then people will start to, we're just naturally curious beings.
Yes.
And so we're going to go over and go, what's happening over there?
Yes.
Know more about.
Yep. Absolutely. I mean, I've seen it in a few of the organizations that I've worked in. You know, you go in and you just start talking to people, find out what people are interested in while you're learning about where the opportunities are in the organization, and ask them questions about it. Ask them what they know. People love to show you what they know, and then you engage them in the process to improve it. Ask them what do they think, what do they think it would take to fix it?
Mhm.
What's wrong with it? What's working well with it? And 9 times out of 10, they'll jump on board, and there's your start right there. You start right there.
It's so funny because I think about the conversations and the work that you've been doing, especially in the organization you're now. You're in a part of healthcare that you hadn't spent, 15 years in, right?
Right.
You're still treating patients. I mean, you've been in that part of healthcare, but you were the patient in that part of healthcare.
Yes.
And so you are dependent on the people that are actually doing the work more so than anything else to understand what matters to them, what's getting in the way, all that stuff. And so when you start tapping into basically giving them a platform and a voice to start fixing things that have been such pain points for them, for maybe decades that maybe they thought, okay, yeah, it's always been this way, and so we can't change it. That gets people curious too, because all of a sudden you're going to have someone that may have been disengaged before,
Yeah.
okay, because they've been feeling the pain, they've been feeling all the stuff, they've told themselves an experience, they can't do anything about it. And now all of a sudden you've got a leader going on and go, hey, let's see what we can do. And you've got a person who's engaged that wasn't engaged before.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had that experience even just last week. One of the members on my team, had expressed some challenges with this one process. And I thought, wow, it doesn't seem like something that will be very difficult to fix. So I said, well, let's gather the entire team. Let's get all the stakeholders together and let's just talk about this. And the team member was like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. I'm like, well, let's do it anyway. Let's come together, let's chat. And what we learned in the meeting is that one part of the team was doing things that didn't need to be done because the other part of the team was doing it. And then one part of the team was experiencing pain that was caused by the other side of the team, yet the other side of the team had no idea that they were causing pain. And so it was the bringing of the team together
Mm-hmm.
and talking about this that really generated a positive outcome, excitement, and engagement. I'm so excited for this process as we move forward.
I love that. And you know what, Don, my brain went when you were talking about that is now you've changed the experience of all the people that were in the room with you. Okay. And they are now most likely, they're going to go back and they have the opportunity, especially if they have direct reports, to then create a similar situation with the people on their team.
Yes, yes, right, because you lead through example. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this problem has been a problem for a long time.
Yeah. I
And
love that.
and to just think about the fact that all we had to do was meet and discuss, get the key stakeholders together and discuss the issues. And so through that process, we're on our way to a brand new improved process, a brand new improved experience. And pretty much I didn't really do anything. I just brought the team together. It was great, right? And so here we go.
Well, I think part of it is so funny you say you didn't really do anything. I think one of the things in being an effective leader, right, is to create the space
Yeah,
so people can come together differently, right?
right.
So you don't have to be the all-knowing Oz, that behind the curtain managing all the stuff going on. You just have to gather people so that they know it's okay to have discussions. They
Yes,
know it's okay to surface stuff.
right,
And then we start creating that, just the downstream effect of what that's going to be for everybody else.
right.
Um, Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and through this process, I think we're going to be able to create pull because now people will want to know what's going on and how was the team able to come together and fix this process that was impacting so many.
Yeah.
So
So I'm gonna say another because I've been part of you and I have obviously stayed connected through your journey. And so there's another flash of a remembering that came to mind for me. was when you were a previous organization you were at and you were the new leader and gathered your team. So you had daily meetings at one point, right?
Right.
And it was a practice that they had never come together that way before. And it wasn't like you brought them together for 4 hours a day, okay? But you brought them together to engage with each other, to break down silos, to do leadership development, all that, right?
Right.
And then they could get to know each other better. But what I remember you commenting one time is there was a lot of laughter
Yeah.
during these meetings that people got to know each other.
Yeah.
And when that happens, it's different than what people experienced before,
Yeah.
right? And so you have people on the outside that are watching what's
Yeah.
going on, always. So make no bones about it, there's always someone watching what you're doing, what you're thinking, and what you're going to do now. It's just that's what we do.
Right.
And you created pull there too.
Yeah.
Because I remember there were people that weren't even on your team that wanted to be part of this meeting.
They did. It was a very popular meeting. I wasn't sure why, but yeah, I think even some of our executive team leaders wanted to know what was happening in that meeting, wanted to be a part.
So I think there's so many opportunities beyond the traditional definition that we give of creating pull,
Yeah.
right? And to think more broadly about what that looks like. It was funny. I was before we hit record, I was telling you about a group of individuals, and we're going to form a business on another business venture around AI. And we've been crafting in the past by 2 weeks, our business agreement, operating agreement, and core values are in there too. And one of our core values is have fun. We're very explicit about that, even whatever space it is, because you need to be able to laugh. You need to
Yes.
be able to enjoy. You need to be able to have all that stuff. And I think that is another way while we're getting the work done, if we're enjoying it. I think back to what Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, they were singing and dancing through all whatever in the mines. It makes a difference. And I think those are ways too that we can create pull,
Yeah.
is that we've got a different energy and we're motivated about what's going on. There's inspiration, if you will, about what we're doing, what we're accomplishing, coming together to do, that will create curiosity and draw people in
Yes.
instead of having them go away.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I saw it firsthand. As I mentioned, that we had a few um, inquiries, we'll call it, into that meeting. We had people just pop by because they just wanted to be able to visualize the team in that room, to see what we're doing in that meeting, because um, the energy was different, to your point. And
Yeah.
people didn't come to that meeting and leave the same way. Uh,
Mhm.
People were inspired, people were ready to go, move forward, and that kind of energy is contagious, right?
Mhm.
And strong, and it drives you throughout your day, and that's kind of what we're hoping to create. We want to have a team that's engaged and
Mhm.
driving, for a great rest of the day. It just kind of sets,
Yeah.
if you will,
Yeah.
for the
No,
day.
I love it.
Yes,
I love
creating
it.
goal.
Thank you. Yeah. Creating pull and not in the traditional sense of lean and principles.
Yes.
So thank you. And I know there's 50 zillion other examples you have, but I'm hoping we gave people a few of them that
Yeah.
they're going to start planting seeds and thinking for themselves. So Tanzi, what are one or two things you want people to walk away with on this topic around creating pull in organizations and not in the traditional lean methodology sense?
You know, for fear of going off topic, I want to say take a risk. Um, a lot of leaders, to the point you made earlier, go in and want to make changes, and change is great because I love great. But I'm going to challenge you to do what you're afraid to do, and
Mm,
and flip it and create pull, draw people in. Take your time, be purposeful, and draw people in. You'd
yeah.
be amazed.
The thing, I'll piggyback on that. One of the things that comes to mind for me is I remember I was at a conference and talking to somebody from it was the VA, and they were engaging them around process improvement and lean and stuff. And it's work, it's extra work. It requires people to do things differently. And I'm sure many of us experience this where you're just butting your head up against a wall. It's like it's not moving, you're not doing anything. And so the recommendation, it's similar, it's the conversation we're having here. I said, where can you start? And it's like, what? But we have to do all of it. But where can you start? Where do you have somebody that you can engage that's actually interested in what you're doing? And I know you have to do all of it, but you can't do all of it at once.
Right.
And they literally got excited, and you could see the shift in them from exhaustion and defeat to possibility and hope around the idea of just taking this slice and be able to start there, right? And then again, it's the same narrative. Do the work, do great work, shine a light on it, and have people get curious about what you're doing that's different than everyone else is doing.
Right.
And so I think that's it is, where do you start? You start by looking at the stuff that maybe in your world you're frustrated with.
Yeah.
And then step back and go, okay, so where's my slice, right? Where do I start in my world? Even though you've got all of it that you have to fix, to start making a difference, engage with the team, create pull. So anyway, that would be my recommendation. All right. Have a great rest of your day. I love chatting with you. And until next time, this is Leadership Soundbites with Tanzi and Michelle. Have fun.